Spurs-related Premier League predictions 2023-24. Who have you got top four? Who have you got to get relegated? Who is winning the league? Let us know in the comments below. Yes, guys. Hello and welcome back to the Spurs-related YouTube channel and podcast. I hope everyone's doing very well today. Today, we have got a Premier League predictions video for you guys. You can see by the title of the video, Harry Kane is probably not going to be lifting the Premier League next season, but it's all fun and games. We're going to be going through each of our predictions for this season, and it should be an exciting one under Ange Postecoglou's Tottenham side. Today, I am joined alongside very familiar guests, some of old and some of new. First of all, we got Andre, all the way from Canada as always. Andre, how you doing, mate?
I'm doing well. Very excited that we're doing this video because just out of nowhere, the Premier League is just around the corner. And I'm very happy to have Tottenham games to watch again.
Buzzing for the season, buzzing for disappointment, or maybe even some positivity as well, mixed in there with Ange Paul. Who knows what to think? But I am delighted to say we've also got my very good friend, Joseph McBride, back on the channel. He was my co-host back 2 years ago when we started doing this over lockdown. It might have even been 3 now. Joe, like I said, mate, buzzing to have you on. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, it was during lockdown. I remember I was actually Willie in Canada and you called me and said, let's do this. So, yeah, it's been a while. You said to me earlier, it's been like probably a year since I was last on. So, nice to get back and hopefully offer a slice of reality to your Spurs biased predictions. So, we'll see.
Yeah, fair enough. Very biased sometimes, but also a lot of hurt last season. Joe brought me down to earth a little bit, but we will get into each of our predictions. And Joe, like you said, maybe you bring some of these Spurs fans back down to earth in the comments as well. Let us know, guys, what you're thinking on all our predictions in the comments. And if you guys could do me a massive favor, and if you enjoy this video, smash the like button for us. We are doing very great numbers at the moment, and it's all thanks to your guys' support. So thank you very much. Almost at 2.1k and growing daily. So appreciate all the support. But Andre, let's not waste any time. We'll get through everyone's prediction, and then we'll have a little bit of a debate at the end, maybe. Who is up first? Is it Joe? Is he first?
I believe so. So take it away, Joe.
Great,
Tell us this table.
No pressure. No pressure.
Well, we'll start from the bottom. I think Luton and Sheffield will go straight back down. Obviously, it's Luton's first season ever in the Premier League, so congrats to them. But I just don't think they've got the squad for it. Sheffield United have been selling loads of players and not bringing anyone in. Luton, especially as well, they lost their goalkeeper, one of the big members of them coming up. He's gone to Nottingham Forest. I'm not sure exactly who they've replaced him with, but neither have made many signings of note. My perhaps surprise one, is Wolves. They've been teetering around there for a while. If it wasn't for, I can't remember how you say his name, Lopetegui, I can't remember how you say the manager's name. If it wasn't for him last season, I think they definitely would have gone down. And, they've lost serious players. I mean, Connor Cody's gone out, Ruben Neves, Jimenez has gone, and even Nathan Collins to Brentford. And I have a feeling their manager might walk at some point in the season. He's not enjoying it, and I just worry for them. I think Bournemouth have enough to stay up. Everton will be always around there. I think the middle is kind of, touch and go. Anyone could be anywhere. But I think as you get to the top of the table, Brighton in 9th after their last season might seem surprising, but going to their first ever European season, playing those games on Thursday night is going to be a real big juggle for them and De Zerbi. So it'd be interesting to see how they do. And Brentford, really, really admired watching them last year, but without even Tony for a considerable part of the season, I think it's going to be a real struggle for them. Heading towards the top, kind of Chelsea in 8th. I mean,
love it.
Their business is crazy. I mean, I can't even name most of the players they have in their team anymore. I mean, there's so many in and out. They've lost so much experience with Mount, even with Havertz, who's been there for a little while. Kovacic is gone, Aspilicueta's gone, Koulibaly's gone, Mendy's gone, and they've replaced him with new, fresh talent. But it's just whether it can stick or not. And last season was absolutely abysmal. So I think they'll be around there again. It's going to take a while, and you'll probably be delighted to hear that under Poch. Maybe he doesn't make Christmas. Who knows? Um, Tottenham in 7th. I think that's very Harry Kane dependent. If he stays, you've got yourself 25 goals minimum again. And with Maddison, maybe you can see a bit of link up. And the fact you're not playing European football is going to be great. But a new manager, a new style, a new sense of positivity you've got to put into the squad, and even the stadium, because it got quite toxic last year at times. Villa, in my opinion, as much as obviously Arsenal have signed some great players and City have just got their hands on that Leipzig defender that I know everyone's wanted for a while, I think Villa have done some of the best business in the whole window. Signing Pau Torres, Moussa Diaby from Leverkusen, and they haven't really lost anyone of note. And I think under Emery, their squad just looked really good. So yeah, I hope they do well because they're a good team to watch.
Joe,
Yeah.
can I just ask? Sorry. All of this makes complete sense, and to be fair, it's a pretty good prediction in my opinion. The only thing I point out straight at the moment is probably Villa 6th. I'd say is for me surprising. I mean, not giving you guys a spoiler, but Villa aren't as high up as 6th on mine. What makes Villa better than Tottenham and Chelsea? Because that's what a lot of people will probably be asking in the comments.
Straight off the bat, they've got a manager that's had nearly a season with them. That they've all bought into his style of play. They have a good squad anyway, a really good team, and all they've done is enhance the areas they needed to improve. I mean, Watkins was on fire last year, so that's fine. They've upgraded on Buendia with Diaby being there, and Leon Bailey started playing well. They've got such a good attack, and I just think with Pau Torres playing out from the back with Martinez, who's great. I just think they're all buying into that. I mean, Douglas Luiz in the middle is huge for them too. I just think Villa Park, when they're playing well, it's a really hard place to go. I think under Emery, they can take massive strides and even build on last year. It's the vision the club have, and I think they finally found the man to do it. It's definitely a bold prediction. I'll give you that.
I think it is, yeah.
But I just have a feeling that they're going to surprise a few and be a really tough team to beat this year.
Okay.
Yeah. And the reason I've put Newcastle outside the top 4 is, last season was crazy. They made some good signings in the summer, but the whole club got a lift from, the Saudi investment. And, they've obviously signed Tonali this summer. Harvey Barnes is going to take a while to adjust. But I just think it's with Champions League as well. Finally Champions League night's back in Newcastle. It's going to take a lot out of them as well. And I just don't know if they'll be as explosive. I think teams have sussed them out a little bit now. It's not that wow factor because everyone was really shocked last year when they had that tremendous start. But we'll see. Mainly because I wanted to put Liverpool back in there. A little bit of bias myself.
There we go.
Things can't be as bad, league-wise as last year. It's going to be an adjustment because a lot of the experienced players have gone. So there's no pivot in Fabinho, Henderson, or Milner anymore, which is going to be massive for the midfield. Even knowing like last year there wasn't really a midfield anyway. Bobby not being there is going to be interesting, but I'm really excited by Szoboszlai. I think he can bring a lot. On McAllister, it's been a bit of an overhaul, but I just think this season is a redemption season. Europa League football is going to be interesting, but Klopp will play the younger people in that.
Joe, just quickly, with Liverpool.
Yeah,
obviously it being your team and everything else, and you following them very closely. Do you think that Klopp will go for it in the Europa League?
I think depending on how the group stage looks, it would be silly not to play, reserve goalkeeper and a lot of the younger lads. But Klopp does this a lot. He kind of, especially his fallout in like the FA Cup and stuff with Shrewsbury, kind of uses it as an opportunity to play the young kids. And if it starts getting serious, then suddenly the investment comes in. So I think he'll give them a chance. As I said, it depends on the group. But I mean, again, without being biased, Liverpool got to be one of the favourites to win the Europa League straight off the bat. So I think it's definitely something they can win. But the league's going to be prioritised. If they're in a comfortable position for Champions League football at some point, like towards the end of the season, I don't think that they're going to risk their big players on a Thursday night if they can, cement themselves inside the top 4. But I'm not sure. Obviously, a European trophy would be nice. But, won a Champions League against Tottenham, so it's not really high up on the priority list. Anyway, moving further.
Unbelievable. 10
Had to
minutes
get that
in,
in
he's got that one in there. Literally 10 minutes, first 10 minutes back for a year, and he said that on this podcast. Unbelievable audacity. But yeah.
Yeah, top three. I think Man City are the team to beat. They've proved it with 5 or 6 titles in the last 7 years, which is horrendous. Liverpool being the other one. Um, so I just think they've lost some experience with Mahrez, but they've got a good defender in Haaland's up top. It's pretty much the same team. I think Gundogan might be a big miss as well.
Yeah, I was going to say
Um,
about Gundogan.
but I think they'll be fine. They've got so many youngsters still. Cole Palmer scoring that really good goal in the Community Shield. I know he's obviously not going to contest for the centre forwards role, but there's so many players that want to play there.
I mean,
Calvin
they've got
Phillips barely played
Alvarez as well.
Exactly.
He's class. The depth they've got, although losing Gundogan and a couple of others, Mahrez, like you said, they've kept Bernardo Silva by the looks of things, and he was rumoured to be going. So, for me, again, not to give a spoiler of mine, but I can't see past City, and I think City will win it by as many points as last year, like 7 or 8, if not more.
Yeah, and on top of that, even the last few years, when it gets close and they're in the quarters of the semi-finals of the Champions League and in a bit of a title race, there's that doubt of, are they going to prioritise the Champions League because that's the one they want? They've won it now, so and they've just come off the treble-winning season, so you'd be very brave to back against him. I think Arsenal as well, second. They did it last year. They got some good experience in them from last season. They were never going to win it, but they've strengthened well. What?
I was just going to say, like, again, the comments I can see going for Arsenal, like, second, like, what? The thing is, we got to be real as well. Like, Arsenal were very good last year, but they just bottled it, which was brilliant to see. But do you think they're going to have genuinely a better season than, like, Man United, who I'd say have strengthened more? Of course, Arsenal have strengthened a lot. Declan Rice, 100 and something million pounds is ridiculous. And Havertz, of course, could do well, probably go either way, that one. But do you think they're going to progress more than they did last year? And do you think Man United aren't going to get closer to them? Obviously, you put third, but like Liverpool, I can't see Arsenal getting second again. I might be here this time next year saying, in May and say, apologies, Joe, you were right. But I just can't see Arsenal second.
Well, the only major loss they've had is Xhaka. Which is a big loss because he actually started playing really well. But they've brought in Declan Rice, who everyone wanted. Kai Havertz keeps playing a variety of positions from central midfield to like a number 10. And Timber is flexible. He was being played at left back during pre-season at times. He's also a good centre half. And that was something they lacked when Saliba got injured last year. That was kind of the start of the end of their Premier League title race. So I think they have strengthened. They've got a good system. The striker's role with Jesus been injured at the start again, but they've proven they can score goals from anywhere. They are like City a little bit in that regard, where the goals come from a variety of places, mainly because Arteta was under Pep and they play very similar. I just think it's going to be a big year for them, and United have still got a bit of an adjustment. New goalkeeper, new striker. That's not easy. And it's a striker. Yeah.
Yeah, you'd hope that Arsenal could keep up with all the improvements the other teams are making when you spend, I think, around £210 million in just those 3 players alone that we just mentioned.
Yeah, it's crazy. And the only money they've received is for an American who never played for them, like 4 or 5 million. He went to Sheffield United, which is why they're bottom. And Xhaka, which went for peanuts to Leverkusen. So it's an insane amount of spend. And yeah, I think United are going to be good. I mean, they've looked good in pre-season under Ten Hag, and they've made some nice additions. I think Mount's going to have a big role to play. He's wearing that number 7 shirt, so he's got a lot to live up to.
Nice open goal miss yesterday. That was nice.
Yeah,
I enjoyed that.
But yeah, I'm fairly happy with that. I'll be honest. Annoyingly, to say this about 4th, I'm happy with the top 3. A few places under that could be a variety of different ways, but I'm sticking with that. We'll see what happens.
Love it. Nice one, Joe. That was nice. Nice one, Joe. Good to obviously have your predictions there. I mean, I disagree with a couple, like I mentioned, but on the whole, I think it is a solid prediction. I think Brentford is the only one I'd also question with Ivan Toney. I think is a huge part of Brentford, like absolutely massive. I think maybe I could see them finishing a little bit lower, but listen, what do you think? Do you think they're going to really struggle without Toney?
Yeah, it's going to be hard. They've made that signing of I think it was like the number 9 Shade permanent from Freiburg, and they've signed someone else from there as well. It's also very dependent on Raya, in my opinion. If he goes, that's a
Mm.
huge miss. They've already signed the goalkeeper as like a backup, I think, just to be careful. And Nathan Collins is a good defender, so that'd be important at the back. But Tony's going to be tough. They have players there, but no one really to fill the role. Um, but they're pretty good at keeping goals out, especially at home. So um, we'll see. I think that's a good place for him. Personally, we'll see.
Yeah. Okay. Andre, I'm gonna let you go next, mate, because I know you've been a little bit quiet, but I want to see it. Let's talk through it.
Sure. Well, I mean, Joe's the journalist here, like the real journalist. I'm not there yet, so I just want to hear all his insights here because he's been keeping up with this hardcore on my end. It's mainly been Tottenham news, is all you guys have been seeing. But I mean, for mine, a couple of things are different. Manchester City, obviously, first place. I mean, you want to talk about an actual brick wall? That's Man City's. That's Man City's defense with Gavardiol, especially signing in now. Holy, that is, no matter what they choose, it's a really good defense. So good luck scoring against them. And then if you don't score, if you don't watch your own defense, you've got Haaland at the top, ready to strike with De Bruyne feeding him. So I mean, it's a no brainer here. But what I do think is that this might be a controversial take, but I think Newcastle might come in second, mainly because I feel like every window, all they do is upgrade. Every window they get a big signing, and I do think that January will have some even bigger signings, and then that is why they will catch up and make it to second place, while other teams may struggle as the season goes on. Look at Arsenal. They were in first place for the longest time, and then they began to struggle. But I
I
can see
don't
your
think
face there,
it's.
James. What's going on?
Go on. Sorry, Joe.
No, no, go for it. Go for it.
Sorry, Andre. I don't think it's an out there prediction. I just think it's. Do you really think Newcastle are going to leapfrog from essentially? They didn't scrape fourth. They got it with a decent amount of time. Did they come third in the end actually last year? I think they came top four for sure, obviously. But do you think they'll come second with Arsenal then doing worse and Man United doing worse, or do you just think Newcastle are going to step it up to the point where they were at an Arsenal level last year?
I just think they're going to keep stepping it up after every window, because
Okay.
every window, and I know Joe knows this for sure, every window they've made a big signing.
Yeah.
Although it will be dependent a lot on the health of the team, as for any team. But like Isak, for example, if he can stay healthy this season, that's a very good team. So
Yep.
definitely looking forward to seeing them, do well and progress well. But obviously, that is why they come second to me. Arsenal, I think, will still keep up to be in the top four, especially with the signings they made. And like I said earlier, I think that if you're about to spend around £210 million on 3 players alone, you better hope that you're going to be able to still land in the top 4. And I think that's the case. However, I think Manchester United will be struggling to get that top 4, but they will get it just off of the signings they made. Onana, for example. Højlund is someone who I mean, we'll see what happens. I really hope that he, if they've spent around 85 million on him, that he actually lives up to that. Then to me, I think that Liverpool, it will be very dependent on their new signings. I think with Firmino gone, that and Mane gone, it just hasn't been the same up front for me personally. So it'll be very dependent on how those new players that have come in step up, and if they get injured, right? I believe it was what was his name again, that he got injured for like a good chunk of the season, and you guys totally missed him.
Diaz.
What was Diaz? Yeah, like when he got injured, that team struggled a little bit up front because he really was dangerous. But again, we'll see what happens there, and I do think that top
on
will
that?
come in sixth.
Joe, thoughts on what Andres just said about Liverpool there? We're not quite top 4 for him. What are your thoughts?
Well, I put him fourth, so I mean, I've got no problem with the prediction. I think that's fair enough. I mean, I don't have a problem with any of your predictions. It's your opinion, but
I want
like,
to get some more debate in here. Like when you were getting absolutely cooked for putting Arsenal above Tottenham, and now it's just the norm again, unfortunately.
no, it's a good point. Obviously, fitness is key. The attack is nowhere near what it was. Even it's just changed. Like the way that Klopp's had to get him playing is a lot different now. It's very dependent on how Nunes plays because I mean he's been given the number 9 shirt. He played at times out on the left and all sorts. So he needs a really big season. And it's I mean there's like 5 major forwards vying for about 3 spots. So competition is going to be good and healthy. I think again with Liverpool, it's going to be the midfield. I mean, I know that it's been pretty patchy for a while, but to get rid of that many midfielders, I mean, even this window alone, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Keita, Fabinho, Henderson, um, yeah, and then McAllister and Szoboszlai. I don't know. It's going to take a lot, but yeah, no,
Yeah,
make a good point.
it'll definitely be one of those things too with those signings. Like if they really do live up to it, you guys can make that top 5 easily. Maybe even push for top 4. But I just think on my end it'll be 5th for me. But moving along from there, I think Tottenham will reach 6th place just off of the signings we've made already. I think our squad has gotten a lot better already. Some missing pieces have been placed. You know, we finally have an attacking midfielder who can actually create and make the entire team just creatively can work differently now because we have an attacking midfielder finally. And if we do keep Kane, as you said, it'll also be very dependent on that. But I think even more so, it's all depending on how this window ends and if we make any other defensive signings. Because I'm telling you right now, we could score 2 or 3 goals a game, and if we're conceding 4 almost every other game, it won't really matter because it will just be tying and losing, and that's how we end up losing the points. And over time, that's how we end up off of top 4, even when we have good, run of games. So that's why I think they'll end up in 6th. But I do think that Brighton, Aston Villa, and Chelsea, that order is in that way. Again, like you said, Chelsea's done a lot of business, but I don't think that chemistry is going to be fully there. There's been a lot of changes, so it's going to take a while, and other signings I think will need to be made in order to make that team reach the top of where all these other teams have been doing. I think that Aston Villa... Sorry, go ahead.
Say, do you know what I think will happen with Chelsea? They'll either... I don't know if you agree as well, Joe. I think they'll either finish like 9th or 10th, or they're going to be a bit of a under the radar, no European football. It's just going to click with all these signings under Poch and they'll come like top 4. I can't see in between, even though I've probably put it as 6th, or I can't even remember. But,
it's such a weird team. Like, they've lost so many players you've associated with Chelsea for a while, and so many big names. It's a very young, unknown team. Obviously, with Pochettino, that could work wonders. Or, as you said, it could be an absolute flop, and then Bowley will get him sacked by Christmas. So it'd be fun to watch regardless.
Hopefully they absolutely get chewed apart. But
well, I think the signing of Nkunku will definitely be a
he's injured
though. Is he injured? Well, there we go then.
Andre, talk me through some of the key parts of your bottom half of the table. Obviously, West Ham and under.
Yeah. But just quickly, I want to mention that Aston Villa has made that top 8. It could switch between Brighton over one specific player that I've been wanting, and we didn't get him, Pau Torres. I'm still fuming about that because they didn't even have to pay the release clause. So, anyways, moving down the list, I think that Fulham. And I think that Fulham, I want to highlight them. They've recruited a few players that I think will keep them in that sort of mid-table section. Meanwhile, Nottingham Forest, I think they'll just scrape it off of Everton because I do think that Everton have just not made enough signings or good enough signings for me to really be convinced. I mean, again, Danjuma has been placed on loan there. He played for us. He was decent. He didn't get enough chances, but I don't think that with the players around him, he's going to be able to do much. So I do think that Everton will go down. Luton Town, same thing. Like, congrats on them making it to the Premier League, but I don't think that they will be able to compete in the Premier League. They might come back though. They might pull a Fulham where they're being relegated and getting promoted, and eventually they'll have a good enough squad to stay in the Premier League.
I reckon if Luton go down, they'll go straight back down again. That's my prediction. But that's
really,
yeah. I think they'll be. I think they could go down 2 divisions if they go down. But that's way off. They might not even go down yet. But I just think they're not going to be a yo-yo club. Personally, I don't know what Joe thinks.
It's tough because they haven't made any major signings because their time and money's been put into building their stadium up to make it Prem ready, and they're already having to miss their first slot for a home game in the Premier League season. That's been postponed because of it, so they're playing catch up there.
Yeah.
It's an unfortunate start. I mean, that crowd's going to be up for it. Like, don't get me wrong, but I just don't think their squad's good enough. And it's a great achievement, but I think they'll go back down. And yeah, there could be repercussions like we see a lot of the time. I don't think they'd go back down again, but I wouldn't be surprised if they floated around like mid-table championship for a while. I mean, look at West Brom since they went down.
That's what I
Like,
mean. Something
yeah.
like that. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, and what was the I think it was what I wanted to point out with Fulham just quickly, the fact that they lost Mitrovic, but they brought in Jimenez. I think that'll be a huge factor for them. But I think
I don't think Mitrovic is gone yet, is he?
I was going to say I don't think he's gone. You caught
or
me out
has he
there.
come back? Has he come
But
back?
Jimenez is not good enough. I've got a good friend at work who's a big Wolves fan, and he was buzzing that they got any money for him, let alone just 5 million. He thinks that he's run his course. Feels sorry for him because since the major head injury, he hasn't been the same. But yeah, I mean, I don't think he's going to do much for Fulham. I'd love to be wrong because he's a likable player, and after what happened, it'd be nice to see him return to form. But if they lose Mitrovic and have Jimenez as just the number 9 replacement, I think it could be over.
Right. Well, yeah, it is sad to see that because I personally have always highlighted Jimenez as someone who was actually a pretty decent striker. So,
yeah.
I mean, who knows? Maybe Fulham will be the right team for him, and he'll flourish in that and help Fulham stay in that mid-table, which I think he will. So,
love it. Right, it's my turn. I'm up next. Right, here we go.
yes.
Oh, right. Quick as you like. Man City obviously are going to win the league. I just can't see any other team getting near them again, as we were mentioning. I think they'll probably win by 10 points this season, maybe more. I think they'll start better than they did last season. Obviously, they were playing a bit of catch-up last season with Arsenal, who absolutely bottled it, and I absolutely love it. And as I was mentioning to Joe, I just can't see Arsenal. I'm trying not to be biased generally because I hate them, but I can't see them getting second. I think Man United are going to improve. I think Liverpool are going to improve. I think Newcastle would probably even finish above them if they didn't have European football. I think that's the only thing with Newcastle. I don't think their squad is deep enough to go Premier League, Champions League, FA Cup, League Cup. I think they'll struggle in a few of them. And therefore, maybe they'll have a few hiccup results and finish fifth. But I think they'll still finish above Tottenham, who I think are going to finish sixth. And hopefully just above Chelsea, who I think they'll improve under Poch. I know we said like it could go either way, but it's a little bit of an improvement. Still, bless them. I reckon they'll finish seventh, but who knows how they'll start with Poch. I think it's obviously a very annoying appointment for us, but also like Joe was saying, I mean I couldn't even tell you who they'd signed because I can't keep up with it. They've literally got rid of like Kante, Jorginho, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Pulisic. Like I've named 4 out of about 10 they've got rid of, but they've also brought in about 10 signings, and I don't even know half of them. This Jackson guy, don't know how good he is. To be honest with you, not a clue. It's really going to be a case of they'll do really well or they'll finish meh. So let's see. I think Villa have strengthened, like Andre said. Pau Torres, as much as it hurts him, I think he's going to fit in well. Ezri Konsa as well, very good player at the back. Mings, he's hot and cold, but they've got a good enough defence. Ollie Watkins is coming on. I saw a ridiculous thing on Twitter earlier saying, will Ollie Watkins finish with 25 goals or more? No, he won't, but he probably will finish with 15 goals because he is a very decent player. But I mean, that is ridiculous asking for 25. I think it was that Barstool account, so less said about that. Villa.
Do you think that Diaby might do well at Villa? Diaby and Tielemans.
Tielemans is a top signing. He really is. I'm surprised Man City didn't go for him, but then they got Kovacic, didn't they? So I think they're all right in midfield now. But I thought Tielemans would go to Man City, but maybe he's not quite Man City level. I don't know. What do you think, Joe?
I think Kovacic had an absolute mare in the Community Shield as well, by the way, just to bring that up. He's experienced, which is obviously what Pep wants. I mean, he's literally just replacing Gundogan, which makes sense. He wants that experienced head. Tielemans is one of those players that has the capabilities of being an unbelievable player, like sky-high potential. But the fact that he was Leicester's record signing, and the fact that he went as a free agent to Aston Villa and no one else wanted him kind of says a lot. So I think he's got a lot to prove this season. I think he's a very good player. Yeah, I forgot to mention him earlier as well in the midfield. I think Villa have a top team, but Watkins is not scoring 25 goals, and if he does, then they'll definitely finish higher than 8th.
Yeah, I could see Watkins getting 15 or 16, not more than that. But anyway, we digress. I think Brighton, Palace, West Ham, they could finish any one of those positions. I think they'll be floating around mid-table. I think Brighton could have finished higher, like I said, a bit like Newcastle, but Europa League, of course, is huge for them, and they're going to be focusing on that a lot. They're going to want to get out of the group stages, and therefore maybe at the start of the season they may struggle a little bit in the league, but they'll come good. I reckon they'll probably get dumped out. Not too early, but I guess it depends. And then you've got Burnley, 12th. Now, that's a bit of a surprise. I can't actually remember where you guys put them, but I think Company was doing fantastic things in the Championship. They absolutely routed it. Not too sure they've made many mad signings, but at the same time, I just genuinely think that Championship team was far better than the Championship last season, and probably if they played in the Premier League last season, would have come about 12th, 13th. I genuinely believe that. I think Company's done an awesome job there, and it'd be really good to see him in the Premier League, to be fair. Brentford, Fulham, Everton, again, round the bottom to middle half of the table. I think Brentford are going to really struggle without Ivan Toney. I think they've still got okay attackers, but Toney was just the forefront. They've got Mbuemo, who's okay, pretty decent actually, but he's not an Ivan Toney holding the ball up. And Ivan Toney was just an absolute unit up top. Like, he was a mixture of pace, but also very good in the air. And I just feel like they're going to lack that next year until whenever he gets undone for his stupid ban that he quite rightly deserves. Fulham, Everton, Wolves, and the next ones. I think Everton will survive. I can't remember who put them to relegated. I think it was Andre. And I think Forest will scrape it a bit like you guys have put, I'm pretty sure. And then I think Bournemouth. I don't think you guys have put Bournemouth. I think they'll go down. I don't think they've got enough in the tank. You look at their front line, Solanke, okay, pretty decent, but also very average football player. But then you look around their team, it's just so Championship. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if there is any Bournemouth fans watching. There probably isn't, but I just think your team's very average. I think Forest have a bit more class in their team than Bournemouth, but let's see. And then, like you two have both put, Luton and Sheffield United are in the mud here this season. I think Sheffield United genuinely could be rivaling the Derby points tally. I just don't know where they're going to get wins. I looked at their team, and even their fans on Twitter have put, we're absolutely screwed for this year. And I was like, yeah, Fairs, your team, I couldn't name you any. I think Sander Berg's like their best player, and you're thinking, Jesus.
And he's linked with Burnley heavily now as well.
Well, they might even lose their best player. There you go. It proves my point even more. But yeah, that's my prediction. And guys, 30 minutes. Absolutely loved that video. Smash the likes. Secret word today, if you're still watching, is predictions in capital letters. And whack your predictions in. Do your 1 to 20 down below. I'll interact with them all. See what you guys are thinking. Please, like I said, make sure to smash the like button. Subscribe if you're new. Andre, and of course, Joe, in particular, thank you very much for coming on, mate. I hope you have enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's been great. Nice to be back. I'll make sure it becomes more of a regular thing again.
Yeah, definitely get you back on, especially for the Tottenham-Liverpool preview. I'm sure we'll do something good to do with that. But, yeah, guys, let us know what you think. And as always, come on, you Spurs!